In the beginning, I never imagined that walking away could carry such profound strength. Back then, it seemed like love was everything, unchallenged, eternal, indestructible. My story with her began like so many others, with sparks flying in the quietest moments, with stolen glances and laughter that lingered. There was something about her that lit up any room, without effort, without sound. She didn't need to speak to be noticed. Her presence alone was enough to command attention, and I gave her mine freely, fully, every fragment of my time, every corner of my heart. I wasn't perfect, but I was present. Always. I listened, I stayed, I chose her, over and over again, even when it felt like she no longer chose me. Especially then. Somewhere along the way, something shifted in her. The changes didn't scream, they whispered. Her texts became shorter, colder. Our conversations, once so alive, turned to shadows of what they'd been. Her eyes, once fixed on me, wandered even as I spoke. And her smile, that beautiful familiar smile, started to feel like it wasn't meant for me anymore. There was a moment, though brief, where I realized she was already gone. Still there in body, yes, but her heart had moved on, chasing a feeling I could no longer give her. Or perhaps one she no longer saw in me. I never begged her to stay. Maybe I should have. But when she left, her tone sharp, her words distant and final, something in me didn't shatter with noise. It cracked in silence. I simply nodded, turned around and walked away. She expected more. I could feel it. She waited for me to chase her, to call, to plead, to unravel in my desperation. But I didn't. What she met instead was silence. I disappeared from her life without fireworks or breakdowns. And for the first time in a long time, I turned inward, toward the parts of me I had forgotten. The first few nights were brutal. Love doesn't vanish just because someone leaves. It lingers. It aches. It echoes. I grieved. Not just her, but the version of myself that only existed in her light. The man who bent to make her smile. The soul that clung to a love slowly slipping through his fingers. But the silence, that vast emptiness she left behind, became something else. It became a space I began to fill. Not with her memory, but with myself. I returned to the pages of books that once fed my mind. I ran, not to impress anyone, but to feel my own strength again. I met up with old friends. Friends I'd pushed aside for a love that no longer remembered how to show up for me. Their laughter pulled me back into the world. Slowly my own returned. Not the kind you force to mask your pain, but the kind that comes uninvited, rising from somewhere deep and real. In that quiet rebuilding, something unexpected happened. I met someone new. She wasn't the kind of woman who walked into a room and turned heads. She didn't need to. Her presence was softer but steadier. She didn't try to dazzle me, she simply saw me. All of me. The polished mask, yes, but also the bruised places I'd long tried to hide. She stayed, not with promises or drama, but with consistency, with patience, with peace. And for the first time, love didn't feel like something I had to earn. It felt like something that was simply given. Not because I had something to prove, but because I was enough, just as I was. Then, as if life itself couldn't resist a twist of irony, I saw her again. The woman I had once waited for. The one who assumed I'd always be waiting. It was at a coffee shop we used to frequent. The place still smelled the same, fresh grounds, baked bread, a touch of nostalgia. She stood there, unchanged in many ways, still wrapped in that easy confidence. But her eyes, they were different. She didn't expect to see me. And she definitely didn't expect to see me happy. My hand was wrapped in someone else's. She laughed at one of my terrible jokes and leaned into me, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She looked at me like I was more than enough. And the moment her eyes met mine, I saw it, the flicker. Regret. The kind you try to swallow before it shows. But it was there. "Hey, it's been a while," she said, her voice that same old familiar tone, rehearsed and smooth. "It has," I replied. Polite. Detached. Her gaze dropped to the woman beside me. "Who's this?" she asked. The sweetness in her voice edged with something sharp. I looked at the woman beside me, then back. My smile was calm. Someone who makes loving again feel effortless. The words landed. I saw it in her posture. The tiny falter. The invisible blow she hadn't expected to take. "You didn't even try to fight for me," she murmured. more to herself than to me. I met her gaze steady. Fighting for someone who's already walked away is like trying to pour water into a cracked glass. No matter how much you give, it never holds. You let it go. She blinked, stunned. This wasn't the man she had left behind. That man might have begged, might have rewritten himself 1,000 times to win her back, might have carried her weight as well as his own, just for a moment of her attention. But that version of me died the day she looked at me like I wasn't enough. I used to think closure came from conversations, from apologies, from shared tears and last goodbyes. But sometimes closure is standing tall in the version of yourself they never believed you'd become. Without them. She left that day, her steps quieter than I remembered. And I didn't look back. The silence that followed didn't hurt anymore. It felt like clarity, like peace. I don't hate her. I never did. Some part of me will always care for the person she once was, and the love we once shared. But I don't wish for it back. Because in losing her, I found something more valuable. I found myself. And sometimes, the bravest thing you'll ever do is walk away without a fight, and never return.